You won't believe what happened next. The greatest love stories in a Hollywood icon's life never made it to the screen. We remember the cool grin, the legendary roles, the effortless charm, but off-camera, he wrestled with the kind of love that lifts you up, breaks you down, and sits quietly in your chest for decades. Tonight, we're pulling back the curtain on the relationships that shaped Robert Redford. Not the star, but the man. There are movie stars, and then there are legends. He was both. The guy men wanted to be, and women couldn't forget. Yet even legends carry ghosts. Memories of love found too soon, love lost too late, and the kind of almost love that lingers like a song you can't quite place. So, let's sit with the real story. The one that never got a premiere, never rolled in the credits, but mattered more than any award. Lola Van Wagenen was the first steady hand in the whirlwind. Before the magazine covers and the sold-out premieres, there was a young couple trying to build a life that felt real. They married in 1958, when famous was still a far-off word, and future meant rent, ambition, and a lot of grit. Lola wasn't chasing the spotlight. She was a historian with quiet depth and a calm center. The person who saw him not as a myth in the making, but simply as Bob. They built a family together, 4 children, long nights, early mornings, a home pieced together between auditions and opportunities. Then, success arrived, and with it, the distance that success so often brings. Sets, flights, late calls, the weight of being known everywhere and understood almost nowhere. After nearly 3 decades, they parted in 1985, without spectacle or drama, just 2 people admitting they'd drifted to opposite shores. Yet, when he spoke of her later, there was respect in every syllable and a softness that never quite left. First loves have a way of setting the compass, even when the journey moves on. Natalie Wood was a different kind of gravity. By the mid-1960s, she was Hollywood royalty, poised, luminous, adored. They worked together on Inside Daisy Clover and This Property is Condemned. And the camera caught something audiences felt right away. A spark that made the room go quiet. Off-set, life was more complicated. Fame takes a toll. So do expectations. For him, Natalie was brilliance wrapped in fragility, someone whose strength on screen hid weather systems of pressure and pain. Whether what they shared was a brief romance or a profound friendship, it left a mark. Her tragic death in 1981 didn't just shake the industry, it became one of those moments that remind you how fragile it all is. The careers, the gossip, the people. He spoke of her sparingly and gently, like handling a photograph that's been creased too many times. Some connections don't have a label. They don't need one. Barbra Streisand brought fire to the story, the kind that lights up a decade and still glows years later. Their pairing in The Way We Were didn't just sell tickets, it branded itself onto the culture. On screen, their push and pull felt like truth, her intensity and fierce conviction meeting his restraint and quiet control. Oil and water? Maybe. But that tension made the magic. Off-screen, it was admiration and distance, warmth and boundaries. She later admitted he was the golden boy. He, famously private, let the work say most of what there was to say. The film's bittersweet ending felt less like fiction and more like an understanding. Some loves are real, but not sustainable. Sometimes timing isn't a villain, it's just the rule of the road. And yet, the echo of that story never faded. For many, it's the great if only of movie romance. Beautiful, impossible, unforgettable. Sonia Braga was a storm you don't predict. You just step into it and hold on. International, fearless, electric on screen, she carried the heat of Latin America and the courage to live without apology. He was the calm eye of so many storms. With Sonia, he wasn't the center, he was inside the whirlwind. Friends remembered their chemistry as consuming, the kind of pull that blurs logic and rewrites schedules. But passion burns hot, and it burns out if there isn't a place to land. He needed ground. She thrived in the blaze. Their worlds collided in ways that changed them and then kept moving. Years later, he spoke of her with admiration, like someone remembering a lightning strike. Brief, dazzling, impossible to forget. Sibylla Sagers was a different chapter entirely, the one that chose peace over drama, quiet over spectacle. An artist from Germany with a soul tuned to nature and color, she didn't want the spotlight. She wanted a life. Their paths crossed in the 1,990 seconds, when he had already stepped back from noise whenever he could, choosing mountains and open sky over red carpets. With Sybil, the rhythm was slower, steadier. Long walks, shared stillness. A house where silence felt full, not empty. After more than a decade together, they married in 2009 inches, a private ceremony, no headlines needed. If earlier loves were storms and sparks, this was the shoreline, the place you come home to, the place that says, you can rest here. Sometimes the bravest love isn't the one that sweeps you away, it's the one that lets you stay. Jane Fonda is the almost that fans can't stop imagining. From Barefoot in the Park to The Electric Horseman, and later Our Souls at Night, they moved together with an ease that looked like destiny. She admired his craft and his calm. He respected her courage and her refusal to be anything but honest in public and private life. Was it ever a romance? No, and that might be why it lasted. Some bonds work because they never cross the line, because the friendship is too rare to risk. When they reunited late in life to play Neighbors Finding Love, it felt less like acting and more like a conversation, picked up exactly where it left off. Two people who knew each other's rhythms and could make an audience feel safe, seen, and hopeful. Not every great love story involves romance. Some are built on trust, timing, and the comfort of a familiar hand you never had to hold. What stays with you isn't the premieres or the press junkets. It's the way he talked about certain women with respect, with care, with a softness that didn't need to be performed. It's the way some names arrive like a breeze and others like thunder. It's the realization that the roles we play, cowboy, conman, quiet rebel, are just masks we take off when the door closes and the room gets quiet. So if you're listening and thinking about your own history, the first love that set your compass, the almost love you still think about on long drives, the passion that burned bright and burned out, the calm that finally let you exhale, you're not alone. Even legends chase the same answers the rest of us do. Who sees me? Who steadies me? Who challenges me? Who stays? In the end, the most honest part of his story isn't glory. It's gratitude. Gratitude for the woman who helped him build a family. Gratitude for the co-stars who brought out different shades of his soul. Gratitude for the whirlwind that reminded him he was alive. Gratitude for the partner who made silence feel like music. These aren't scenes. They're the reasons the scenes ever mattered. If one of these chapters hit you right in the chest, tell me which one and why.